Webcam died.
Oh no. I need to put a webcam up here when I'm doing stuff from this office. That way it doesn't look like I'm 9,000 foot tall.
We'll go to laptop. Back up.
Won't back up.
Webcam died.
Oh no. Well, good morning, beautiful people. Good morning, Caitlin. Good morning, Jessica. Good morning, Audra. Good morning, Fabi. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Gian. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Dan. Man,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
do you guys have any idea how awesome today is?
Good morning.
Do you? Do you have any idea how awesome today is? Anything? Anyone have a guess? Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody? What's your guess?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Your birthday?
Yeah, my birthday's in November, but great guess.
Why today's so awesome?
Yeah, why is today so awesome?
Because you're on your treadmill?
Well, that's one thing.
Because we're all here together and we're winners.
I like it. That's what we'll go with. We're all here together and we're winners. Okay. I want to hear from you, though. What are your wins, your celebrations, something you're proud of?
My sister's here.
Hi, sister.
Hi.
What's her name?
Kenzie.
Hi, Kenzie.
Hi.
Is this Kenzie from Tennessee?
Yep.
So we can call her Kennessie?
That's hilarious. I
right.
love it.
Carry on. Next.
I have been falling behind on content creation for my channel, and I was in a bit of a rut. And yesterday I told myself that I was gonna focus on nothing else but getting videos done, and that's what I did yesterday.
That's awesome. How many did you bang out?
4.
That girl.
It was tough.
It's good.
Um,
I haven't done a Fabi check in a minute, so let's do that.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't check on me right now.
Oh, that's the time I'm gonna check on you. She's all, no, I'm not ready. Too bad.
No.
Same thing with me with my broker's license. It actually expired, but they gave me a month's grace period before I
no.
have to, renew or something. But yeah, I've been on that and just doing my broker's license. So I started like after we get off call, I'm going to do what I need to do and just study all day. And I've been doing that for the past since we last talked.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 hours of classwork a day at a minimum so that you can get your 45 hours in because you said you're about halfway through, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this is the land of no excuses. You ain't got no time. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Just like this morning, I'm on my treadmill. You guys know why I'm on my treadmill this morning?
Did you miss yesterday?
I missed yesterday. So, better way to make up for yesterday than doubling up today. But I missed it by such a small number. So I missed it by 371 steps, which I'm sure there's 100 steps in there that are unaccounted for because I've already counted out the morning steps where I don't have my watch or my phone on me. But those are just buffers. Other wins, celebrations. What do you got?
It's like I'm buying a new camera.
Okay. I may join you in the camera. I might get a camera for this office. That way you guys get this view. You can see the fan moving. It'll throw you off.
Extra trafficy today, and Siri said I could shave off 11 minutes. So I'm doing a different route to work
Okay.
today, and met with a new lender yesterday, and he seems kind of promising. He's kind of met, and he's offering like all these ways to help me out,
Good.
especially with like follow up and stuff, and helping me out with social media. So it seems like, yeah.
All right, some great wins, some good celebrations, things that are moving on. Fabi, you're at 670 subscribers. We need to get Fabi over that 1,000 mark so she can start monetizing. Currently 330 away. Not bad, not bad. You'll get there, girl. Keep pushing, keep pushing. She's all, I know, I know. Steady growth, girl, steady growth. I don't even know what my channel's at. I mean, I only post a live video almost every day. Not curated cool content like Fabi. I think I'm like 90.
I had a creative block. I felt like I couldn't come up with anything to say.
Ooh, I got 92 subscribers now. What's up? But here's the thing: how do you handle creative blocks? What are some ways to get content ideas? Like,
I
what
started
does the
looking at
public
other
wanna know?
people's channels. Yeah. I went to askthepublic.com. I looked at other videos. I stopped trying to like make it perfect.
Have ChatGPT give you some content ideas. That's what I do whenever I can't think of something.
There was a moment where I just didn't like anything that chat was giving me.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Then
So
tell it. I don't like any of the ideas you've come up with. Change your personality and come up with some different stuff.
I hate you. I hate
Seriously,
you, do it again.
I hate you do it differently.
Yeah.
Careful. Y'all haven't seen Terminator.
I say please and thank you to mine, okay? I'm good. Well, today's Wednesday, and I like to talk about all kinds of things on Wednesday, mostly objections. So I got a phone call last night from an agent. Name's Alex, he's a beautiful agent. He calls me up and says, Dan, I'm having trouble navigating this whole compensation thing. The seller said, you are absolutely worth the 3%, but I'm just having a hard time with the other side, the buyer's compensation. How do you overcome that? So, group, how do we overcome it? How do we talk about that?
What are the homes around you doing? What are they offering? What's your competition doing?
Okay, there's one. That's beautiful. Hey, you want to compete? This is what you're competing against.
Mhm.
Do you want to trust that the agent on the other side is gonna be able to close a deal?
Okay, but still very much so about other side things, right? What else? Come on, Julie.
I think that we kind of have to help the sellers change their own mindset. I mean, the purpose for them paying closing costs and for them paying incentives, buyer's commission included, is so that to make it possible for the buyer to financially buy their home.
Mhm.
And the seller has every power to do so because they're going to have proceeds from the sale. So it's kind of like we kind of have to convince our sellers, sort of, not convince them, but help them see that it's in their best interest to help the buyers purchase their home, is it not?
That's one way of looking at it for sure.
Reframe it. What is it about the buyer's compensation that has you concerned?
Yeah, what is it about that? Well, I don't want to pay someone else's compensation, right? There's a lot of questions to be asked here, and I love that you guys all kind of stepped in there. No one's wrong, but there's no right answer either. It really depends on what the seller's concerns are, what the seller's motivations are, and what the seller's understandings of it all are. I love the sentence, what we pay hasn't changed. How you pay it has. As a buyer's representative, they are going to have an agreement with the buyer to go out and look at homes and help negotiate on their behalf. Most of them are still heavily relying on the seller to do so because it's the buyer that's paying for the house. It's just how much proceeds go to the seller at the end of it all. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let me assure you that if the offer that you receive does not match what you need to get out of this house, you don't have to take it. It's that simple. Give them the power back. Do we know how much the compensation is? No. Right? Do we want to sell the house? Yeah. Well, if the neighbor next door, everything on the houses are identical, the neighbor next door is offering an easier way for the buyer to afford it, then that's a direct comparable that's showing a better value to the consumer. Unfortunately, they chose to go with them instead of you. But ask questions. What's important about the compensation? What are your thoughts about the compensation? What are your understandings of the compensation changes? Are there still sellers out there that don't know that that's changed? Are there agents out there that don't know that that's changed? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Oh, Okay, what questions can you ask the seller to help get clarity? Already gave you 3 of them.
After we address this, can we address the flip side too? I'm running into, we're willing to accept your offer, but we're not paying a buyer compensation.
Well, let's get the 3 questions to the seller down first. I've already given them to you. You just got to regurgitate them. Let me know you're learning. You're listening.
What do you know about buyer's compensation?
What do you know about buyer's compensation? How does it work? Like it. Get some clarity. Gain some clarity around their understanding. How much do you like it when someone explains something to you that you already know? Does it make you annoyed? Okay, what else? This is not a time to be shy and quiet. This is interactive. You guys are the only things helping me forget that I'm walking on a treadmill. Come on now. It's just mean to make me talk by myself. What's important about the compensation?
I think I would ask the seller, what was your experience like when you purchased this home?
Love it. Comparison. Track record.
Did your seller offer closing costs or any incentives for you to be able to purchase the home? Or did you just have a big fat down payment like most people don't?
99% of people prior to August 2024 had the seller's compensation written out to them, right? The seller's agent got a listing for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%, whatever it was, and they split whatever percentage they went off to the buyer's agent. That's what you took. Some of us were using buyer broker agreements back then, and we got whatever we wanted because we asked for it. But you got to ask, how was it when you bought the house? What was different? What's changed since then? If you're happy with how much money you walk away with at the end of it, will you say yes to the right offer? Some people get stuck in the weeds just on the definition of it. I remember this because I had a guy, this is, 15 years ago. We're selling a high-performance car out of a Chevy store, and he's paying $5,000 over market value. And he comes out, he goes, I'm not paying dealer tag fees. Okay, why is that? He's all, I don't have to pay dealer and handling. I'm here. You're here, I'm here, I'm paying for the car. That's what it is. Now you have to take this $599 off the deal. I'm also, you're good with everything else except for the dealer tag fees at $599. He goes, yeah. So I go back to my manager and I go, hey, Scotty, there's a situation. Scotty crosses out the words dealer and writes in owner. Owner tag fees, $599. He comes back and the guy goes, okay, I'll take the deal. When you buy a new car, who pays for the tags?
You do.
I'm laughing over here on mute.
I don't care what it's labeled. You're paying for it. You're buying the car. So some people just get stuck on the definition. If you're wanting to walk away with $20,000, $40,000, $130,000, this is what it looks like. I run a cost sheet for my sellers and I said, hey, based on the averages we're seeing in the market, here's your net proceeds. Either I get a wow or I get a not as much as I was hoping for. Starts a conversation. Well, how much were you hoping for? 100 grand. Hey, we're only $80,000 off. Is compensation going to be a factor of that 80 grand?
Yes.
No. You're paying me $12,000. We're paying the buyer's agent $12,000. That's $24,000. Okay, you're now $56,000 off of your number. Your home ain't worth it. Your expectations are out of alignment. Where did you come up with 100 grand profit? Well, my neighbor down the street sold his house for $100,000 profit. Yeah, it's because your neighbor updated their house. You haven't. Your house is vintage, right? It still has the same dead cat in the corner since 1995. So I hope this is cracking open some of that egg so you guys can talk to your sellers and get the conversation going. Say, hey, we're going to get your home sold. but we're also going to make sure that it gets sold at the best value to the best agent with the best opportunity, because it's not always about price, it's about making sure it gets done. On the flip side of that, yes, Jim, seller comes back, says, yes, we will take your offer, but we are not paying compensation. Okay, great. Well, that's a factor of my buyer's needs. I guess we're going to have to find something different.
Yeah.
Also, who do you have an agreement with to pay your compensation as a buyer's agent?
Fine.
Everyone, please, together. The
The-
buyer.
Fire.
The buyer, right? So if the seller is willing to compensate you 2% of the total 3% that you and your buyer have an agreement on, who pays the rest?
The buyer.
All together, the buyer.
Fire.
This is a conversation you need to have with them up front. Are we just going to chop our professional fees?
I did give the buyer the option. I said, if this is the home you want, you do have the ability to go on unrepresented, but I won't be able to advise you. She goes, oh, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Okay, raise your hand if you had a buyer pay the delta between what a seller was giving you and what you agreed upon.
Me.
I did.
I'm
Is it-
raising my hand. You can't see me.
I know you are. Is it that hard? Is it that hard to say, hey,
Nope.
this is
Not
our-
at all.
No.
Because when we work hard, they see that and they want us to get paid.
Yeah.
I just had a buyer pay 6,000 additional on top of what the seller was compensating.
Yeah.
And I think it really matters, especially if they love the house. Like if that's the house, they're willing to pay for it.
So let's jump into this. As a buyer's agent that had the buyer pay an additional compensation above and beyond the seller compensation, what did you do for that buyer that created a financial benefit for them?
Got them under asking initially.
How much?
That was, hold on, let me think. 50,000?
Okay.
I got their closing costs paid for and half of the buyer compensation paid for.
I got 2.5% of the 3% for buyer's compensation. We had a fair number of things done through the Binzer, that mold remediation stuff, Dan. So we had a number of things that really covered their butt on. Set them up with vendors, like a multiple vendor list if they wanted it. I put together a PDF for my clients that's like welcome home, and it's got all the info for their post office route, where their local post office is, all the utility hookup information, warranty info, like as a one-stop shop on a page. Local restaurants and coffee shops.
You earned that 6%, or that
And-
$6,000.
And they said that at the very end, they were like, you've earned every dollar
Yeah.
for this
So
deal.
on top of getting the seller to pay for it, you got the seller to come down on price. You got the seller to do a monumental amount of repairs, probably in the excess of $50,000, $60,000 there. And the buyers only had to pay you $350 a month for 17 months. You saved them, right? You gave them a $50,000 change in price, which saved them $350 a month, which over the course of a loan, if you're paying 360 months, is far more than $6,000. It's $126,000. So that $6,000 saved them $120,000. Think about this, people. This is why it's okay to have that conversation about your value up front, and
Well,
then
and
anchor to it during a deal.
Well, and I had that one buyer, Dan, if you remember, it was a new build, and they knew that the buyers would be paying the difference because they weren't covering the full 3%. And then they didn't charge it at the end when they did all the money. So then I had to go back around and say, you forgot that. And they had to go back to the buyer and say, sorry, I know we just closed, but we've got to charge you more. And it was fine because I'd had that conversation with them, set the expectation, they were ready for it. And so then it was merely a clerical error at the end that they forgot to collect that additional amount.
You guys know the difference between good news and bad news?
Mm-hmm.
Timing.
Mm.
Good news, bad news, and or just news. It's all just news if you do it early enough. You talk about it. You get a settlement statement before closing. It should be looked at. You should look at it and say, oh, wait, there's some money missing. I don't care if it's $215. If there is an agreement in place for you to get paid, look at it. If there's an agreement in place for the seller to give a credit to the buyer, make sure it's there. Because you are there to make sure everything is financially accurate too. It's not just title's job. Well, what if the buyer doesn't have the money to pay you right now?
You can do it in payments.
We can do it in payments. We can take it out in trade. I can do, some kind of really goods. Hey, Dan,
Add it into their loan and include it in their closing costs, but the compensation goes to the buyer's agent.
maybe. If the lender will do that, maybe. There's always a way to make it work. But don't just be so quick to be like, guys, I'll just take 2%. The seller's giving us 2%, I'll just take 2%. Be okay asking. The universe will gladly pay any price upon asking, but you got to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. Like my family's motto, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Why is that? Because we know it's squeaky. If you're not saying you need it, you ain't getting it. But let's say a seller says, I'm not paying anything. Well, let's find a way around it. I'm not paying a buyer's compensation. So let's go back to the example I gave you from the car dealership. It's the definition. What can we do to change that? I'm not paying a buyer's compensation. Come on now.
Call
Think.
it something different,
Like?
like purchase
Be-
incentive.
be
I don't know.
Marketing.
Not even that. Did we get seller's credits on the deal? If not, then hey, you know what? We're not going to ask for a buyer broker. We're not going to ask you to pay for the buyer's brokerage fee. The buyer will need some help with closing costs in the sum of 3.5%. What did I just do?
You just moved it to something else.
I just redefined the number, moved it elsewhere. Some sellers are just going to say no to paying a buyer's broker. Oh, your buyer just needs some help on closing costs. We got help on closing costs when we bought this house. No problem. How much closing costs can you get on a deal? Anyone know the
As much as
number?
the lender
Depends on
allows.
the loan type.
As much as the lender allows.
Which is typically around
50%.
6%, right?
Unless
around
you're
6%.
VA.
Yeah, VA can go a little higher, but it's at typically 6%.
VA 4.
Well, you can also, VA doesn't cap your compensation as part of that 4.
True that.
So.
Buy downs, rate buy downs.
Yeah, so you've got some opportunity to ask for more than 3%. Let's say a seller is willing to do a $10,000 price reduction on a house. It's listed for $400,000. How much percent is that? You guys really got to get better at your mathing.
Yeah.
2.5%. 2.5%. How much credit can a buyer usually soak up in a deal? So if a seller's been sitting on the market for a couple of months and things aren't moving along, and you got a buyer that's like, hey, I'd love to live here, I just don't have the cash capital to make it happen. Maybe the seller would be interested in doing some credit. Because on the definition, they're selling their house for $400,000. They're still getting their $400K. They're just giving away some credit at the end. Because it comes down to definition. Well, I'm not selling my house for less than $400,000. You're crazy. Okay. Well, instead of selling it for $390, let's do this. Let's sell it for $400 and offer a $10,000 concession. Are we not just redefining terms that make them a little bit more emotionally impactful? Am I talking to Anthony's shirt here, or am I talking to some human beings?
Mhm.
Compensation is one of the biggest conversations around real estate right now. Is buyers want to make sure that they can afford it, and they got to pay a buyer's agent now, so now they're waiting. They don't realize that we can negotiate that, and still 90% of real estate transactions, the seller's paying a majority of the compensation. The difference being now is it's clearly negotiated. That was the issue. Raise your hand if you're timid about talking about money. Be honest with yourself. Right? That's something you got to work on. It's okay. It's okay to set values and set expectations and have those conversations, because that's your job. Is this not the largest financial purchase somebody is likely to make? Outside of your home, you're not likely to have anything that's valued as high. Unless you're the good one and you invested your money and you were smart and you have a stock portfolio like $2 million, whatever. But here's the thing. Buyers are relying on you to give them sound advice so that they can make a well-informed decision. Without giving them the information they need, including the costs associated to it, how can they make a well-informed decision? I kind of find it as dishonest by not telling them, because you're setting them up for failure. Same thing for the seller, right? Have that conversation up front. Let them know what to expect, because if a majority of the market is still moving in a certain way, are they going to create friction for themselves selling the house by going against it? Yeah. I'm not here to give your house away, ma'am. I'm here to make sure you make a good investment, a sound decision based on facts, data, and the offers that we receive, so that you can do what's best for your family, your future, and your financial sanity. If you don't like the offer, don't take it. We had a seller that was super grumpy about that. Myself, my broker, and his lawyer, I'm sure, told him, you were educated multiple times. If you don't like the offer, don't take it. And he was super mad that he was paying the buyer's compensation. And then he was super mad that he was paying the seller's compensation. Then he was super mad that he woke up. But at the end of the day, they have a choice to take the offer or not. The buyers have the choice of to buy a house or not. But you, as a real estate professional, have the duty and the obligation to provide them the insight and perspective so that they can make a well-informed decision. So be okay having the tough conversations. This is what's expected. Do you agree? Here is my agreement. This is my professional fee. This is what it is. And if they agree, sign on the dotted line, press hard, fourth copy is yours. If they don't, find a way around it. So what's holding you back? Any other thoughts, questions, comments, and concerns on this topic? Was today worth your time?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So what's one thing you took away that you're going to put into action today?
Not being timid about talking about compensation.
If
Being
you're
proactive about the conversations that I'm having with my clients.
proactive, love it. Proactive is better than reactive. An ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. What else? One more.
Delivering bad news versus good news, the timing, it's all just news.
It's
It's
all
gonna
news.
have to come out. We're gonna have to talk about it. So just have the tough conversations up front before it's uncomfortable.
That's one of the best lessons I've ever learned. Good news and bad news is all just news if it's delivered early enough. All right, my friends, thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for showing up every day. I'll see you tomorrow, unless Jim has a camera malfunction, then we'll see him.